are live, headed into Seraphim versus Zul'Jin and Juice here on this Saturday afternoon Artisans League tournament. This is kind of a new thing for me. I don't know a whole lot about either of these teams, but we'll see how things shake out as we get going. So as a quick recap, we're going with the HGC rule set in terms of map pools and bans. So we started off with Seraphim banning out Sky Temple and Zul'Jin and Juice banning out Dragonshire. So that means Seraphim's taken us to Tomb of the Spider Queen for our first up, which promises to be just full of action and violence and everything that your Heroes of the Storm player could want. Sylvanas, the first ban out from Zul'Jin. Had a bit of a lull in popularity for a while, but has certainly had a comeback here in the last few weeks, and Tomb of the Spider Queen has never really left her arsenal of big, strong maps. I mean, having a big way that you can just escort in, and the spiders already die kind of fast as it is, being, I think, the only map objective that loses health without taking damage. As opposed to like the Punishers or the Immortals on BOE, and everything else I think has a timer. So these ones will just drain health on their own, and no reason to enable that any faster than you need to. Gul'dan, the ban from Seraphim. Had to make sure my mic was on. Another hero that particularly my team that I play with a lot just absolutely adores, especially if you're going to be rotating in big groups, always in close proximity to the other team. You can get those stacks on corruption up just immediately, just absolutely instantly. Greymane going to be the first pick for Zul'Jin and Juice, breaking their namesake, but a strong hero nonetheless. Able to get in there or serve as a big range damage dealer, and as a first pick really leaves you open to really do anything you want. It's a safe pick that, you know, if you want a diver, he can be your diver, but if you're not diving, then he can just fire his gun. He's a jack of all trades. He's the variant of doing damage. He's gonna do damage, but you can kind of pick how it works. See what we're getting from Seraphim. Been a while since I've actually had a game on Tomb, because I think it was out when I first started doing those map rotations. I don't recall it being one of them. Had to relearn how the map works, how to relearn what heroes are good and what timings are relevant. Although with so few camps, there's really nothing really to focus on except for the turn-in most of the time. Ariel and Anubarak on the side of Seraphim. I don't know if they're just picking heroes in alphabetical order, but they've decided to pick two substantially strong heroes, arguably one of the strongest warriors in the game right now, and one of the supports with the greatest potential coming out of Seraphim. Ariel will of course need a battery, but there's still plenty on the table, including Vala, and actually I don't know how Ariel plus Malthael work now, but I imagine that interaction's pretty good. He notoriously deals lots of damage. And of course Zul'Jin, which would be just the funniest turnaround. But Zul'Jin and Juice are looking to maybe enable that hard dive with Tyrael to get in there and really just provide all of the support and I wish supports weren't called supports, because that's what Tyrael's going to be doing to help Greymane get in there and deal some damage. But you get the idea. He's got his cast of characters behind him to help enable. Enabling is the word I was looking for. It looks like Greymane has that to start with. Ban coming out of Seraphim, and Zul'Jin and Juice have locked up pretty well, like the base team they need. They've got some CC, they've got a pretty good health pool for the front line, they've got some simultaneously ranged and melee damage, so I'm not really sure what you ban here, other than maybe a solo laner if you expect Greymane to rotate with the 4. But it looks like Seraphim is mostly worried about a lot of range damage coming in, so they're going to ban Vala, which does remove one of their battery targets, but I think they've probably got somebody in mind already, so they will have the tools to make this work. Meanwhile, Zul'Jin and Juice probably need to look at some sort of damage ban, but there's so many out there in the game right now that it's really hard to use this ban to deny sources of damage. Like if you can't simultaneously ban Zul'Jin and Chromie and Thrall and Malthael. You're gonna let something through, and so it's mostly a comfort pick. I know, for instance, on my team, almost regardless, we ban Kael'thas because we're just horrible at dealing with Kael'thas. We clump up all the time, and that's like a candy factory for Kael'thas. So, really, it's going to be mostly a comfort ban coming out in this slot, I would expect. Let's see what they're going with, and they're going to ban Gaul. Probably that's one of the Ariel batteries that I can't believe I forgot to mention. Cho'Gall is an absolutely monstrous ally with Ariel, particularly on this map where you don't have to rotate all that far. Your support's never that far away, and you can just mow down damage. So very, very heads up ban from Zul'Jin and Juice. It's already going to be the pickup for Seraphim, and that's going to go real well with whoever they decide to pick as their damage dealer. Just give that little bit of protection, and that really opens up the door for them to pick a few more different heroes that not having that shield would have prevented them from picking. See what they decide to go with. And it is going to be Malthael, so this will be my first time seeing the two angels working together to see how well they support one another. Can Malthael pump up the damage? Oh, might have a bit of a question here. Be a question on whether or not Malthael can actually All right, looks like we're gonna roll with it. I guess for future reference, Malthael is not kosher per HGC rules, but Zul'Jin has accommodated it, so we're gonna thank them for the courtesy and proceed. Alarak and Kael'thas, the pickups for Zul'Jin and Juice, rounding out their team, and they have a scary amount of damage in isolation. They got stuns from Uther, silence and pushes from Alarak, and just an obscene amount of damage if they can get somebody isolated.
The hunt is
and Lenara, the DPS for Seraphim, to round out their team. So we're gonna move some people around, get folks where they need to be. It's weird that you can't. Well, I guess you can see stuff from this side. It looks like people are bouncing skins around. So looking at this, I think it's going to largely come down to how well Zul'Jin and Juice can get people isolated. If they can get people, if they can get some early picks and start denying some of that healing battery for Ariel, then Seraphim's going to have a really hard time maintaining that support. But if they can't, then that's going to be awfully hard to deal with. I'm trying out some new scene technology for OBS, the thing I use for casting. So I'm still trying to learn how all the buttons work, learn how all the techniques for switching between scenes and all. So If things look stupid briefly, I apologize, but hopefully we'll keep that to a minimum. And we are live on this first of this best of 3 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Representing Seraphim on the blue team, we've got DJ Hellscream on Zarya, Hawkpyre on Ariel, Kurenai on Lenora, a Rubber Duck on Malthael, and Shiggity on Anubarak. And on the red team, representing Zul'Jin and Juice, we've got Burger 987 on Tyrael, Kirkdog on Alarak, Ben on Greymane, Top Jam on Kael'thas, and Uther being piloted by Waldo. Gates are down, teams are headed straight along into what should be a series of violent exchanges that will happen eventually as Seraphim scouts out. A lot of grenades going out just to try and suss out where Zul'Jin and Juice is coming from. They do have that really dangerous dive going on, so they're wanting to make sure they totally understand where Zul'Jin's coming from and where they need to couple here in the mid-lane. Damage coming down on Ariel. Out of harm's way. The turnaround coming on Top Jam. Is he going to be able to get safety? Yes. We'll have to disengage for a short while. So down in the bottom lane, looks like we're going to have Malthael v Alarak. Battle of the two just most polite, nice teams. All of the Nexus, but damage coming out on the Burger. Can he escape with Tyrael? Anubarak dives deep, and Tyrael able to work away. So for all that talk about diving, it looks like Zul'Jin has to be aware of the long-range initiation from Anubarak. He's able to start a fight seemingly out of nowhere. Scuffling here a bit. Burger caught out a little bit in this team. Looks like he'll be able to Elduin's might to safety though. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we'll see how it looks like Alarak and Malthael are having just a nice, polite conversation. Hopefully, it's fairly high and no huge issue, but a bit of a scuffle here. Kirkdog having to back away for just a moment and tend to a diminishing health pool. Wave pushed all the way up in the ammo in the top lane, drained here against Zul'Jin and Juice. So looks like Seraphim able to get the push they need and simply rotating just a little bit quicker. On the Waldo, he will be able to absolutely withstand that with armor plus a very large health pool. Seraphim collapsing on to Zul'Jin and Juice, trying to find a pit, trying to find the engagement. Zul'Jin playing very cautiously, not affording a good pick for Seraphim, making sure they can maintain that gem count. Here comes the dive from Shiggity. Burger able to escape once again, but just maintaining and nursing a fairly low health pool. Really limit the initiation we can offer, but critically alive is not dead and 1 is not 0, and that's being alive at low health is colossally better than being dead with 0. On the bottom lane, Rubber Duck and Kirkdog still duking it out. It's this might be the most tense part of the board right here. It feels like one misstep from either player could result in just absolute disaster. But so far, both teams not really damage. Ben at critical health does get taken down. First takedown of the match going to Seraphim. Taken out and they are continuing to apply pressure directly to it. And it looks like Kirkdog was able to take the win down in the bottom lane. That's going to be about 18 to 20 gems gone on the side of Seraphim. So that's really going to set them back for this first web mover. As Zul'Jin and Juice, if they can get positioning, almost have the gems in hand. Experience almost deadlocked. Not a lot of wave loss down the bottom lane. Lenara coming fairly far out, trying to just pour out some damage. Knowing her team is right behind her pretty much. Chickadee dunks his 25 or so gems. Big lead for him, I'm sure. And the rotations keep coming. Both teams have enough gems to complete the turn-in. It's just a matter of getting position and time to be able to do that. Well, back down in the bottom lane, Kurt Dog and Rubber Duck duking at it once more. Neither one in a great position to turn in, either for lack of gems or lack of focus. Seraphim looking to slam their gems up in the top. Are they going to be successful? They're going to get a few. There's 3 off. A lot of damage coming out onto Ario here. Is the pursuit going to come? Looks like no. So, all in all, just a mild bruising in the end. Zul'Jin and Juice are looking to surround. They've got the numbers if they can get it. But DJ Hellscream able to turn in and get the first web weavers of the match. And not only that, a fair bit of damage on the Burger, but again, nothing to terribly write home about. Able to top off fairly quickly. Fighters are active. Looks like Seraphim put people up in the top lane and Malfail to the bottom. Fighter on the gate, Nelson up fairly low for top jam. He's going to be able to escape. Looks like the answer is yes. So Helpful is so low towards Zul'Jin and Juice, they can't really risk avoiding engagement. They can't risk diving into the pick. They have to play very cautiously to really mitigate the damage that they can do, but they can't even really get to it. They don't have a lot of good tools to send damage its way, so they're going to be rotating away and trying to deal with probably Nelson on the map. Meanwhile, Kurt Dog v. Alarak, or Kurt Dog v. Rubber Duck still going strong. Is Kurt Dog going to be able to escape from this? Oh, it's going to be close. He'll get away just at the nick of time. Meanwhile, Zul'Jin and Juice cleaning up mid, and a lot of work getting done here in the top lane. Seraphim have heroics, so they could easily continue to fight for a while if they have numbers, but it looks like they don't, as they're on the wrong end of a 5v4, so even with heroics, this might be a bit of a gamble to continue pushing, but they trying to see what they can find, but it looks like they got the damage they wanted, and they are backing out, content with 2 forts in their back pocket and keep wall to boot.
Bring me their power.
Definitely a very strong turn coming out of Seraphim. They got lanes pushed in really deep on top and bottom, and collected a couple structures and have a massive experience lead. So we'll see what Zul'Jin can do to recover from this. In fact, what they're going to start by doing is getting the pick on Malfail. Real strong pickup there. Expulsion zone coming out from DJ Hellscream. Damn it, pouring out on the top Jan and Ben. Can they both escape? They're all so low. Is the tap available? No. Keltis will fall. So 1 for 1 now. But heroics are online for Zul'Jin and Juice, and a couple of them for Seraphim. So they might be in a position to do something with this if they can get the position they want. Looks like Seraphim is just going to be able to mow down this wall. Tower shots are gone. Get it fairly uncontested. Judgment comes out on to Kurenai. Follow. Unfortunately, it's Burger who's going to be on the bad end of all that damage, but here comes the explosion on the Hellscream. Pyroblast on the Hawkfire. And for what looked like a strong start, Seraphim at critically low health. They lose Zarya, they lose Anubarak, and Pursuit's coming onto Hawkfire. That health is almost there, and that's Gilnean Cocktail for the finish. So very strong recovery from Zul'Jin and Juice, and that's exactly what they needed to get back in the game. Critically, Kurt Dog turning in with his 66 gems.
Power is yours.
Certainly a relief to have those off of your person, I can imagine. Zul'Jin clearing the mercenary camp in the mid, looking to apply the pressure of their own. And it's worth noting that the lanes are very nicely pushed back in Zul'Jin's favor. Really help their spider push. 5 members of Zul'Jin up in the top lane. Good brawl, good expulsion zone comes out, only catches Imperial. And a big bunch of damage coming out from Battlefield. Comes out on the Mario. Is she gonna fall? Yes. But a critical amount of health onto everybody on Zul'Jin and Juice. Something like a 4-for-1 with only Kelthis escaping, and that's roughly only just for the moment. As he is absolutely nowhere to go with interaction. Coming in to secure the takedown.
Red team dominated.
What a wild swinging fight. I mean, the positioning and ultimates, like so much of the damage coming out of Althea just ended Zul'Jin and Juice. That was good on Seraphim to capitalize on that, even despite, I think, losing the first takedown in that. So largely at the bottom, I think that Zul'Jin and Juice may yet get this forward anyway. They will. So not quite the capitalization that Zul'Jin and Juice was looking for, but certainly gets them back within strike. Especially if they can get an engagement pretty soon before Seraphim gets level 16 talents. They are missing a person as 5v4. Seraphim comes barreling in and forward on the top jam, and he is sentenced to death. Looks like Tyrael soon. Oh no, looks like he's going to escape down the bottom as Waldo is the target of Seraphim's ire. So a 2-for-0 in favor of Seraphim. And they don't quite have enough gems to get the turn in just yet. We'll see what they look to do with this advantage. And it looks like they've made a decision. Zul'Jin and Juice capping the Merc camp, trying to apply some pressure somewhere on the board. Lost sight of Seraphim. I don't think they've showed what they're doing here, although Ariel in the top lane with nobody else visible does sort of lend itself to ask a few fairly important questions. I don't think Zul'Jin is going to get there quite in time. Loss goes to Seraphim, and they are barreling down on the top. Level 16 talents in hand. Boss at their back. This is a great opportunity to get deep if they can. Especially if they can get the nice. Comes out on to Rubber Duck. Helpful fallen, but Tyrael's is as well. He will be taken down, trying to get the equalizer onto a Rubber Duck. Will it hit? Not quite. And so a 3-for-0 in favor of Seraphim, and that should be absolutely enough for the keep, and they may even close that here. Only top jam here to try and defend this. GG already called. We'll see how this ends. I'm not sure Zul'Jin is going to be got the defense for this. So Seraphim's map, Seraphim's win. They clearly came in with a plan and were able to execute. So there's focus on safety, last bit of damage coming in. And that is going to be game 1 for Seraphim. Alright, so both teams talking about where to go next. Next map is going to be wherever Zul'Jin and Juice decide to take us. Taking a moment to talk about how the last game went, what they did well, what might need some improvement, and what map plays to their strengths. I mean, more than anything, the big advantage of picking map is just having your plan ready to go. You don't have to think of it in the middle of the draft. You can just execute your plan. So it looks like the next map is going to be Cursed Hollow, not the sandbox one, but the proper one. we'll get everybody in here. Thanks for the advice, chat. Adjustments there. Hopefully that's better for 2. Adjusted a whole bunch of settings, so hopefully I'm dialing them in where they need to be. And this isn't strictly a scrim. This is actually a league started fairly recently called Artisans League. They've got what appears to be fairly frequent tournaments on the weekends. I think this one has a fairly modest but non-zero cash prize for the winner. So we'll see if this becomes a larger thing over time. Hopefully it does. I always like more games of HOTS, more action to be had, and I had some time on a Saturday and thought, you know what, I haven't casted in a while. It's fun to get back in it.
Cursed Hollow.
And we are now headed into Cursed Hollow for Game 2. And I have already seen something I need to adjust. Come on. There we go. All right, back in action. Alright, so for the record, if you're playing this week in HGC rules, Malthael is no-go. Malthael is not kosher. He is the opposite of okay. And looks like Li Ming going to be the first pan out of this Seraphim team, and definitely good for just making it impossible to land that channel. I mean, I don't remember exactly how long it takes to get a channel. I think it's 4 or 5 seconds. Whatever it is, it's definitely shorter than Li Ming's Q. So if you can't get to her and push her away, you'll never be able to complete the channel by yourself.
Change is upon us.
Uther the ban on the side of Zul'Jin and Juice. Wound up with it last time, but not quite feeling it this time, so looking to pick up something else. Dahaka, crazy strong pick on this map. I'm not sure post-patch, I know pre-patch, I think Anubarak was considered one of the best tanks in the game, and I think maybe now Dahaka is, particularly on a map this big and one that you can kind of predict and guess at times where the objective's going to be, and place your Dahaka accordingly. So, for instance, if the curse or the tribute is in the top half of the map for the first 2 appearances, you know for certain that it's going to be on the bottom half for the next one. So it lets you really maximize the value out of Dahaka's global, either giving your team an experience lead or giving you that 5v4 advantage at the objective once it's time. Muradin and Karazim, the pickups for Zul'Jin and Juice, and a real strong pair that I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about before, but Muradin able to just collect a whole bunch of damage and take care of himself once he's out of the fight. So he's not relying on Karazim to continually blow mana into his health pool or find somebody to punch if he picks the healing talent. Genji Tassadar, the picks for Seraphim, and I have just the biggest love-hate feeling with Genji. He's cool, his moveset is neat, he's amazing, he's just the best playmaker I've seen in a really long time in HOTS, and I can't stand it when he's on the other team. Genji destroys my team just constantly, but he's an absolute blast if he's on your side. So we'll see if Genji, like some other heroes, really needs the right supporting cast to make work, really to his full potential. And Tassadar's can be a strong part of that. I mean, that shield might give him a 50% health increase temporarily. That's a big deal for somebody that doesn't have a whole lot of health like Genji. Meanwhile, the ban's coming out for Zul'Jin and Juice. See if they decide to take another support off the table. And it's going to be Tracer instead. So really concerned about just being able to chase and pursue with those Tassadar shields. Really have just no interest in that. Although I wonder if that means they're going to pick some fairly frail backline heroes of their own in the face of this. They just want to deny the extra chasing ability if Genji's already bad enough. Seraphim currently hovering Varian. We'll see if that's going to be their pick. Zul'Jin could probably use another bruiser on the way, and Varian can certainly fill a lot of roles. Can certainly lock down Genji too, and just deny him the ability to deflect or escape. So that taunt Varian could be a big problem for Genji as well. And if they're looking to enable it, using a ban is probably their best tool to make Genji work. Clock running down. Looks like Varian is going to be the selection. No, instead it's going to be Abathur. I don't know if that was just a last-second drama switch, or if some discussion was really worried about some of the punishments that Abathur can pack out. And again, this is another map where Abathur is fairly strong as well, for the same reasons Dahaka is, being able to apply pressure somewhere on the map where the other team is either not going to be or very not, like, you'll be able to detect when they're coming pretty quickly. But mines can certainly present a problem for Genji as well, but vision from Tassadar should help. So I don't know if it's another one of those comfort picks where Abathur is one of those heroes that can just present a lot of problems that are hard to deal with, or hard to deal with in specific ways.
I heed the voice of Illumination.
Except for using specific ways. But big buckets of damage coming out from Greymane and Tehran, so once again, a lot of priority coming out on that Greymane, looking to enable its kill potential. And maybe that's part of the reason they took the Abathur ban. I mean, a Hats just makes Greymane that much harder to kill, and killing him is a real big priority if you've got some frail heroes on your team, and Genji and Tassadar can fit the bill if caught in the wrong place. Arthas, the pick for Seraphim, coming into their last one, and I don't know if they're going to rely on Tassadar to solo support. It looks like the answer is no. Malfurion's coming to both enable some of those isolations and restore some health as well. I don't know how... I know Malfurion was the victim of some debuffs in the last couple weeks, but it seems like he's still doing pretty okay. I mean, silence is... An AoE silence is still an AoE silence, and roots are still roots, and as long as those are both there, it's not bad. So Zul'Jin looking to complete their lineup, trying to see what they're looking at here. Possibly some range damage. I mean, they're currently right now they're looking for Greymane to really do a lot of the heavy lifting. And they've got enough vulnerability.
The hunt is
Looks like they're just gonna run it back. They're gonna... Or no, Lenara was on Seraphim side last time, so picking Lenara for themselves. We'll see how things shake out here. I think that I think between Dahaka and Genji, they're going to be able to really soak the map better, try and get an experience lead during these first three objectives. But I think if they can take that lead and hang on to it, they're going to be in a real good position. So we'll see how things go here in Game 2 of this best of 3. Also, haven't talked about probably the most important thing in this map, portrait synergy. That probably largely explains Seraphim's success in Game 1. Just getting those portraits in line matters. It almost matters more than what heroic you pick, to be honest.
Heroes.
But anyway, we are headed into Game 2 here in this best of 3. On the side of Seraphim, we've got DJ Hellscream on Dahaka, Kurenai on Genji, Shiggity on Arthas, Rubber Duck on Tassadar.
The battle begins.
And I can't read my notes, but it is Hawkpyre on Malfurion.
5.
And on the red
4,
side for Zul'Jin and
3,
Juice, we've got Burger 987 on
1.
Muradin, Top Gem on Tehran,
Fight.
Kurt Dog on Lenara, Waldo on Karazim, and Ben on Greymane. Gates are down, teams are headed into action, and Tassadar knows all and sees all. Got some very polite short-term hearthing that somebody would execute with the B button to make a short step, and just a lot of decoration, a lot of fancy decoration on the map. Got a lot of posturing and joking and signaling to the other teams that we are not here to be afraid of you. We're here to win. And isolation coming out. Karazim does get caught, but the follow-up isn't quite there. So, this is Zul'Jin and Juice just now splitting, and I think they're going to be missing some of this wave here in the top and the bottom lane. All of the bottom lane goes away, and a large part of this top one is. So Seraphim already doing a good job getting that quick XP lead, something they're going to look to maintain and extend as the game goes on. But Tassadar v Greymane up in the top lane. Big action's going to be here at the bottom. A lot of damage coming out on the Genji. Does have to dash away. Next wave of damage coming out onto Shiggity. Roots come out onto Tehran, but able to survive. And Kurenai does get taken down. The aggression does not last forever. Your health pool is only so big. And Hawkpyre looking to maybe extend a little farther than he should. Stayed just a moment too far, but almost got the trade for Waldo. So a calculated gamble that just came up tails this time. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Lenara doing some strong work against Dahaka. And up in the top, looks like Rubber Duck taking a little bit of damage against Ben here. But both towers only missing just a couple shots, so pretty even there. We do see both teams splitting off to go take some camps. This is one of the more RNG elements of this map. So both teams are working on the siege camps, which are going to push down top and bottom lanes. And so whichever lane doesn't contain this first tribute, that camp's going to get a whole lot more work or force the other team to respond to it. And it looks like it is going to be active in the top lane. So advantage for Zul'Jin and Juice. They're going to have numbers here, or their siege camp down on the bottom is going to get some work done. Meanwhile, Zul'Jin and Juice just delaying the rotation. Damage pouring out onto Hawkfire. He is going to get taken down. And that is not everything Zul'Jin has to offer. The damage continuing to pour out onto Shiggy. The pursuit absolutely non-stop. And Tehran with just a marksman-like shot just gluing into the board. So first tribute will go to Zul'Jin and Juice. And that experience lead now tilted to Zul'Jin's favor, although they are getting fairly low in hit points. Need to be a little careful because Tehran is not the healer she used to be. Not that she was ever an exceptional healer, but are able to clean up those siege giants before a whole lot of work got done. Did get most of both of the towers. Meanwhile, Arthas and Muradin duking it out here in the middle lane. Dahaka and Lenara continuing to go at it. And I think Lenara actually might be a bit closer now. But back here at the top, Seraphim continuing to apply pressure to the top lane. Wall is gone, fort is exposed. And the next tribute is up in the top lane as well. So this should give Seraphim an advantage. Level 7 achieved for both teams. And Berger at fairly critical health walks into some roots. And Genji with the takedown. Able to take this up. Meanwhile, Arthas and Karazim duking it out over the tribute. But Seraphim will unquestionably have numbers here. It's just a matter if Zul'Jin's in a position to delay, and it looks like not. So one tribute apiece. It's like Seraphim's enjoying a very, very minor structure lead, but other than that, it's a very even game across the board. Lenara getting some work done in the bottom lane. Seraphim not particularly keen on that. We'll see if anything comes out. Kurt Dog able